What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's poppin', bro?
Man, first off, it's early. Second off, it's early. And third off, man, it's early. But it's all good because we keeping the morning shows rolling, baby. How are you, man? What's going on in your life, man?
Oh, everything's good. Not only that, though, I'm kind of amped up for these topics today.
Dude, man, we got some
We got some heat.
man. Hey, look, you know it's dope whenever we get one of the higher ups speaking. You know what I mean? Whether it is Coach Tomlin, whether it is Mr. Rooney, or yours truly, Mr. Kevin Colbert, baby. I am so hyped we get a chance to react to some of the stuff that he was talking about because he had a lot of gems in this thing, man. A lot of information that, things we were kind of speculating on that we really didn't know 100%. But now, oh yeah, we heard it from the horse's mouth, so it is confirmed, baby. Yes, indeed. And I definitely
How's everything on your end?
Oh man, well, first off, I got a little time this morning. I'm feeling real good, man. Becoming even more centered with myself, grounded. Becoming more self-aware, man. I'm really digging
Self-aware.
This. Yeah, man. Just things, understanding what triggers me. Whether it was things that I would know, like directly know, hey, this is a trigger, or things that was kind of like indirectly. But when you become more centered, more self-aware, it's like, okay, I can understand this is a trigger now. And then how to, peacefully control my breathing and not allow said situations to elevate my blood level, baby. Keep me smooth, even. I like it, man. Like I said, it's a dope feeling right now. It's really dope.
Sounds like you don't want to leave.
I ain't say all that now. Chill out. I said I like what I'm learning. I like these cool techniques and coping tools. I like how it makes me feel. But I don't want to be out here that long. I'm over here like, how many days I got left? I'm trying to go back to that casa. I gotta see the wifey. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had a kiss in a minute, bro. I'm a certified lover like Drake. Yeah, man, I need wifey.
Getting close.
For sure. But funny
March 20th, right?
21st. So
okay.
We almost there, man. But funny thing though, man. So last night as I'm going through my emails and I'm setting up the show, I get an email and it's from the Arizona Cardinals. I'm like, bro, what the heck is this? Since my birthday coming up, they were giving me the heads up 15% off on the team store. I can't make it. It's 15%.
You coughed something.
No. So I'm looking, I was like, damn, 15%, wait a minute. So then I looked and I was like, man, what the Steelers give me for my birthday? But I ain't get no email. But then I remembered, I was like, oh, well, I get a better deal with them anyways. Then I started looking for Buffalo. I'm checking my spam, like, oh, so nobody else will see me no email? But I get a little bit better deal with Buffalo too. So I said, okay, I guess Arizona had to send the email since they don't show me the same love that Pittsburgh and Buffalo does. But as I'm forgetting about it, I'm like, okay, we're good, Get up this morning because it's a spirit week for my school, for my children's school. So they got the jerseys on. I'm like, all right. Looking at Ava. She has the 55, black and gold still. So I'm like, okay, all right. I thought she was gonna go Buffalo, but I rock with the Steelers. Good work. I like it. G was a surprise this morning. G starts out with his shoes, cool gray 11s. I'm like, okay, I see the heat. I see you. He got the jeans on, cuffed at the bottom. I'm like, oh boy, you stunting. Let me see what the top looking like. That thing was red. That 9 tray on him. I said, oh, I said, gee, that's what you want today. He said, yeah, Dad, I kind of like this one. I like how the red look on me. I said, oh. I said, so it had me thinking. I said, Deke, is this a sign that I need to utilize my 15% off? Do I need to share that link with you in the congregation today? Is that what we need to do? So
you don't got to share it with us. But maybe G's on a little Cardinals kick. He was on a Buffalo kick now.
He was. Yeah, man, but he had the jersey.
That's what I was thinking. I thought you were gonna buy him maybe. Are you gonna buy him maybe a hat or something too to match with it?
I might have to all of a sudden, right? When you see us pull up with Cardinal snapbacks on, you know what it is. But yeah, man, I was like, yo, that's crazy. So
people are just your kids are just supporting your career. That's all.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is. I've come to the conclusion. There's no real affiliation with any of these teams right now. It's just I want to support that. This was part of his career. And I want to make things interesting. That's all.
No, I do feel like that is the strong case because I noticed too, they don't even necessarily associate all the time with the team. It's more so the name. Like, yo, Dad, it's got our name on this jersey. That's your name. That's our name. That's the family name. I'm like, yeah, say it with pride. Yeah.
I feel like there's still hope for G, though.
Man, I'm nervous. I feel like
he's more of a Steeler fan naturally, you're saying, right?
True,
He's going through a phase. He's a kid. That's all.
Yes. Also, phase.
Yeah, I think that's all it is.
I hope so. So what about my oldest, KK? Because I never know what jersey
I don't know.
Pull up
I think
in.
she's more Buffalo, right?
Yeah, dude. She will rock that Buffalo or she'll rock the Cardinals because her whole thing is, well, everybody's still a fan, Dad, and I want us to be different. I don't want to be like everybody else. And I'm like, I feel you, love, but you know we live in Pittsburgh.
Well, what did I say? I said, you got till like after high school, right?
Yeah, true. And she's still young. What, freshman year right now, so we're still good, man.
Yeah, so she'll wise up at some point.
That is too funny, bro. That is too funny. But like we always do, when we start these shows, it doesn't matter if it's the crack of butt in the morning or if we rolling late at night in that prime time. We always start with the big boy shout out. So let us know where you are tuning in from, man. Whether you're East Coast, West Coast, domestic, or abroad. And we will give you that big boy shout out to start the show off.
Hey, so we got a comment from Hunter saying Moats way more quiet than Deke. Do you want me to turn down or do you want to try to turn up a little bit?
Let me see. I'll try something over here real quick.
Okay.
All right.
I'll read through these.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I'm not about to be in here yelling though either, though. That's the only thing.
Malachi, he says, Deke, are we getting another combine from you this year? We can compare the numbers from last year to see how much you improved. Stop.
Dude, we need to, man, because I'm trying to think, man, last year, yo, when you had the pro day throw, I do miss your pro day throw.
I can't replicate. I think that was my best effort. That's my problem. I don't know if I could replicate it.
With the Air Crocs, the Air Croc ones or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, hey, speaking of shoes, my brother did get those black and gray lows in for golf.
Okay.
Tried them on. They were 11s.
Yeah.
They fit like a T.
Okay.
Threw them with the golf pants,
yeah.
checking them out in the mirror.
Let's go.
I'm like, dude, I got to. Even threw the high whites on with them because like that's like one of my looks too. I'm like, they look too good, so I had to buy them. So I got the gray and black one lows for golf shoes. Those in the Kepkas that I'm rocking.
Nah, I like it there.
I figured you'd appreciate that.
Heck yeah, man. You know I'm always down for that, baby. Yes, indeed. Oh,
I think I'm actually playing today. I think this is my first time out. I think it's like 60 back here.
So yeah, you like it, man.
I think so. My friends are talking about it. Who knows who's gonna bail? But Donald Copeland. We'll get back to the shout out.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Shout out. Good.
Oh no, I say you keep going on your end. I got to work on something on this end. Make sure I'm good.
Okay.
Yep.
He says 412 birthday. Oh, nice.
Okay.
No, it was yesterday. His birthday was yesterday. Saying hungover this morning.
Well, sometimes it happens like that, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We all got birthdays coming up, man. I'm gonna have a postponed turn up session, but either way, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yes, indeed.
We got Shaquille Gregory tuning in from Republic, PA. I have no clue where that is.
Republic, PA.
No clue.
Interesting.
Kakalaki Green, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay. Shout out to Wilmington. I like it. Yeah, you keep us going, man. I'm over here doing a little, little maintenance on my end. Make sure we smooth today. Yeah, now what I'm
producing
saying.
On the spot.
Hey, man,
you don't get enough credit, man.
Nah, man, I'm small time, baby. Don't give me no credit. I'm just a guy.
Melly Mo, 56, says from the 860 gang. DJ Lundy.
Okay. Let's get it.
757 Norfolk, Virginia.
Don't you tease me like that, D. Come on now. From the crib, you see the face light up. Even while I'm working the ones and twos back here, baby. Let's get it.
Elijah Barnett says Dodge City / Darby, PA. 484 to the 610. Country boy.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Jacob Soria, 209 Stockton, California. Baron Bradford, 918 Tulsa. He says, okay, but holding it down in Erbil, Iraq.
Oh, man. Dude, no, man. Absolutely, man. Stay safe out there, baby. Yes, indeed. And
did he say he was in the service? Is that why he's over there? Yeah, I can't remember.
I definitely think he did, man. So let's say salute you, man. We definitely appreciate your service, man. Stay safe, though, baby. Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And then we got We got. Hold on, I lost myself.
Oh, you
here.
good? You
Oh,
good?
we got Knight Rider.
Oh,
you good? Is everything good on your end?
Oh, yeah, baby. You know, I'm back in the game, baby. Let me tap in for a little bit, you know, because first off, Knight Rider, that's the homie, Knight Rider 16.
I was going to say him anyway.
He always come through
good
showing
pick.
major love, so big time salute to you as well, Knight Rider. After that, man, I see Dennis Wilson, the 740 South Point, Ohio. I like it. They say O-H-I-O. Okay. Then after that, we have, can't remember if you said Cody James or not, but he said the 8860. All right. I smell what you're cooking over there, then. Let's get it. Butcher Bergen _ Zofo Alem, the 518. And then after that, let's get down to Tommy Vincent. You know where he tuning in from. 928. What's that? Mojave Valley, Arizona. Let's go. Let's go.
Jamon Brown, Macon, Georgia in the building. Dennis Wilson, Ohio. And then Luke Cross as the STL. Headed to work with you boys. Nice.
Let's get it, man. Now, we definitely appreciate you tuning in with us, baby. Tapping in one time.
Want me to read some of these super chats?
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's get this thing rolling.
Black and Martyr, just showing some support to start it off. Mm-hmm. Throwing it back anyway. This is like a vintage performance by him. He was always the first one to show support he was 6 months ago.
He did set the trend, man. Absolutely he did.
Farron Bradford says, y'all see J.C. Jackson most likely to test free agency? Yeah, it doesn't look like the Patriots are going to tag him.
Absolutely. We definitely see that, man. Definitely see that.
Caleb Cole says, Deke was showing Mason some QB1 love yesterday on the stream. Moats may need to call Haskins. Hashtag fake fan.
Whoa. What was going on, Deke? Do tell.
Okay. So this actually goes back to what I was saying on the last podcast. Yeah. And the more and more I think about it, especially with where our cap space is right now, we're at like around 30 million or 28, 29. We thought it was going to be like 50 million. With those voided contracts, it knocks our cap down a little bit. Now, I still know we could cut Joe Strobert. There's some restructuring to do. Yeah. But with Mason at $5 million, that might be the best option for us just because if you get another quarterback or you sign another quarterback, that's going to be a decent chunk of change to whether it's Mason or the other quarterback that's not going to be playing that you could allocate to cornerback, that you could allocate to the offensive line, especially if you don't think one of these quarterbacks is like that much better than Mason Rudolph. That's my thing.
Not fair enough.
And I think I'm just at the point maybe where I'm accepting we're going to roll with Mason, and I'm starting to talk myself into it. Maybe that's it too.
Okay. No, that is legitimate. That could definitely be the case, but we're definitely going to get into that because Kevin Colbert did speak on the quarterbacks, man. But let's keep going through these supers, man. And then after that, we will start this thing off with with Kevin Colbert. Absolutely.
It was sounding like I was turning on Haskins, though, yesterday a little bit.
Oh, my gosh.
I think I'm just reserved. I'm just like, I think we're rolling with Mason. I think I'm preparing myself. That's what it is.
You're
truly
prepared
believe
for the worst. Not playing. Prepare for the worst.
And I do think, though, at $5 million, if we could build out this roster and load it up, I think we got a chance. I really do. I think we could be a playoff contender. He's just got to perform. He's the X factor. If he doesn't perform, then it's all for naught. It's stupid. Yeah. But if he could actually be decent, as much as the Steelers organization seems like they believe in him, then I think we could have a decent team, and he could be a feasible QB1.
Okay.
Scott Mitchell, 315, Syracuse, New York. Moats, if I wasn't a Rebel growing up, I would be a Giants/Yankees fan.
Hey,
like my old man, and not all Pittsburgh.
Let's go.
Oh, okay.
I can respect.
He saw too much New York on the screen and was like, "No, I like that black and gold team."
I can respect it. Okay. But see, that's like I said, my oldest, that's how she feels. She's like, everybody is on the black and gold. And maybe she don't feel like everybody be as authentic as they need to be. I told her, though, the YouTube crowd, I said, babe, the YouTube crowd, they with it. They die hard. Now, they die hard Steelers, but they also die hard Bills. I realized that with this group. And that's fine. You know, I'm not judging any of y'all Bills fans that tune in with us. In fact, you know, I feel, you know what I'm saying? I give you a little elbow with it. I'm with you. You know what I mean? Especially Deke. We know how he rolls. But I can understand it, but I'm glad that we are all here. So, with that being said, man, let's get into this first topic of the day as we react to the big man, Kevin Colbert, man. He had a lot to say in this press conference, man. First thing that jumps off the screen to me before we even get to, what we really, really want to dive into of some of this receiver talk is, sounds like Tua is interested in returning. How we feel about that? It sounds like that. It definitely seems like, I don't know how far we lean in with this right now, man.
I don't think that much, because it feels like there were some other caveats said where he's just like, we're just gonna wait it out. We got to see where Tua is fully just yet. I mean, the door's always open, so there were some caveats with it. Yeah. Some buffers, I guess you could say, where I'm still not holding out that much hope because we still haven't even heard from Tua.
I know, but I just feel like with Kevin Colbert, at least
it's a more positive than some of the other comments in the past. I'll put it that way.
Right. Because beforehand, we just had no clue. We didn't know if he still wanted to play, if he wanted to stay in Pittsburgh, anything. And with that, when we're talking about free agency, when we're talking about staying relevant, when we're talking about building up the best roster that we can have, he is a big piece of that. And if he's not a part of it, well, then trying to replace him and using those financials in the best way possible, he would still be a big part of that situation. So for me, I definitely got excited. I'm like, okay, at least it was some type of something said, right? It's because up until now, we've been in the dark. It's been the whole guessing game of, are they talking? Are they not talking? Oh, it was a report they said something a couple weeks ago, but we still don't know where they're at right now. I just feel like the more they're talking, the more we can keep having the Kevin Colbert and Tua dialogue, or at least keep having Tua's name coming up. I think that does give us a little bit more clarity, because we understand this situation is still just crazy, right? There is no time limit on when you grieve or how long you can grieve. We know this. So there isn't a guarantee that, he's over, the loss of his brother. There is no guarantee that he even has that desire just yet. But does that mean you close the door on him? Well, typically no, but in this business model that the NFL is, it just makes it feel a little bit more, it's more urgency involved with it. It's a lot more minutia than just respect their feelings and give them time. This makes it unique, and
especially
that's the unfortunate
part.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. But at the same time, the Steelers, they have to run a team. They have to, put their best roster out there, and him being out there or not is critical to this team's success.
Yeah, and one of the other comments I thought was interesting is that he talked about Tua in last year and said Tua actually wanted to play. So this is the weird back and forth with this Tua situation. Okay, he wanted to play. Was it the injury? Was it he wanted to play but just still felt like he couldn't?
Right.
Like his inner being was just like, I can't get out there. I want to be out there with my brothers, but that's still in the back of my mind what happened with his brother. So I don't know what it was. And at least Kevin Colbert said he wants to still play, but I'm still not that confident just because he was saying like we're still in dialogue. You know what I mean? All those buffers that I talked. We're still in dialogue. We'll leave the door open for him. Ultimately, it's still on him and like how he feels, but it's it is on him, and we're gonna leave the door open for him. So I don't know how to feel. We need a decision though within the next 2 weeks. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because free agency is literally about to start, and
we cannot be waiting around for free agency to start. We can't. This is big. That contract is Stephon Gilmore essentially.
No, absolutely it is, or it's even low end JC Jackson potentially. Like that's just the nature of it when you're talking about the amount of dollars that allocated to him. And it makes you have to really sit here and talk about it and really have that uncomfortable conversation, because we know it's a lot going on with this. We know it wasn't just an injury. It was multifaceted in terms of what he was dealing with. But that is, like I said, the nature of the NFL. Business matters. Money matters. And when you have a robust contract where it's expectations, and for whatever reason you haven't been able to give that to them, now you have to have these conversations of, okay, man, can we count on him coming back next year? That's what we're kind of stuck with right now, man.
Yeah, at least this was a little bit of a positive in the right direction.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But shoot, man.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying, you go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was just trying to think. Like, we do want him back, right?
Yeah, I personally do, because
I'm just thinking in terms of
he's a really
like,
good player, man.
Right. we should want him back. I'm just thinking about the cap hit though, and what that number could equal in free agency. But if Tuitt plays up to his potential and what he was playing,
we're not worried about that.
He's worth it. 100%, because he low-key had, 11 sacks in 2020?
Absolutely. That was his best season, right? He had finally put it together. He was finally consistent from start to finish, whereas we said in years past, it was like he would have, 3 games where he was dominant, and then he would kind of disappear a little bit. But, yeah, I thought that year prior to him getting the situation happening past offseason, I thought that he was definitely taking steps in the right direction and was ultimately going to tap into that Pro Bowl eventually. Like, that's what it was seeming like. But it's just unfortunate that last year really derailed everything. And then when you multiply that or combine that with the contract element, it makes it real messy at times, man.
Yeah. And from what I was reading, only 1 year left on the deal too.
Mm-hmm.
So you compare that to some of the other free agents that we'd be paying that money. We'd probably be doing multi-year deals. So I guess that's what makes Tuitt's situation a little bit more appealing just for us with him coming back this year.
Yeah, you can do an extension or something like that, and that can, help out with the cap hit in a sense or just whatever. But
wait and see. Because then if Tuitt doesn't perform, then it's like you just move your separate directions after the season.
Absolutely.
Then.
Absolutely. So it's like you say, you got some options, but the biggest thing is you got to have a decision, right? But I think we will know in 2 weeks, right? If we haven't heard a yes or no hard stance, but we don't see the team be aggressive in terms of acquiring a D lineman in free agency, well, maybe that's going to be
so you don't think we're going to find out before free agency? You think there's a chance that happens?
I want us to find out. All I'm saying is this. I don't know if we will publicly find out before free agency. But if the team already knows, hey, Tuitt's going to be back, we will be able to tell by their actions. That's what I'm saying. Because if we know Tuitt's not here, or they think that Tuitt's not going to be available, what are they going to do? They're going to make some type of move with him roster-wise, or we're going to see them go out and spend a little bit more on an interior D lineman earlier in free agency to get a higher-end talent. If we don't see them spend that money in free agency on a higher-end D-line talent, then to me, that's an indication that they are still believing that Tuitt will be back this season. That's kind of how I'm reading into it, because I don't see a scenario where you just put all your eggs in the draft basket to replace Tuitt. Now they could, but once again, if they're not taking a D lineman of Tuitt's caliber in the first, second round, then that's that's kind of where I'm like, I don't know, I think he's gonna be back then. But if we see them actually go out there and acquire his replacement, whether we're talking free agency or early in the draft, I think that's a strong indication that, hey, he's not going to be coming back. That's just kind of how I'm looking at it, because they're not really going to give us – I don't know if they're going to give us that hard yes or no just yet. And Tuitt hasn't seemed like he wants to publicly say yes or no just yet either.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's a rush for it, even though, in my opinion, there should be. The disaster scenario is – we don't address the D-line in free agency or in the first 2 or 3 rounds in the draft, and then Tuitt ends up retiring.
Yeah.
That's the worst, because if Tuitt – because then we miss out on the potential free agency window from a month or two prior. Yeah. And then – because we get some cap space, I would assume, if he retires. But I was going to say if he wants to be traded, that doesn't kill us, but at the same time – we're not able to use that draft pick on this year's draft because it's past the window. So that's the worst case scenario right there, I think.
And I definitely would agree with that, man. I definitely would. All right. Looks like we got some more supers coming in as well, man, because I think we're both on the same page here. We want Tuitt back if he, is ready to come back. And if the team wants him back, we're down for that. But if not, like you said, man, we got like 2 weeks before free agency starts. We're gonna need to know something. Yeah.
Lytle Dorsey says if Mason starts, he's a low cap hit, which saves money for other assets on the team. If he starts and we do good, great. If he sucks, better draft pick. Yeah. He just goes like this. That's kind of my thinking, dude.
Yeah. I can see that,
kind of my thinking.
I'm with it, dude. I'm definitely with it. Like you said, man, build up.
We could basically view him as a quarterback on a rookie contract right now, at least for this season.
No, without a doubt, 100% the case. And worst case scenario is what? He actually balls out. He actually proves that he could be QB1. Okay, that's not a bad problem. That's a good problem. If he proves that he's capable, so I'm fine with that as well.
Ooh, I say worst case scenario is he does bad though. That's worst case. But to his point, if he does bad,
we're going to be picking earlier in the draft a year from now. So we're going to have, like I said, a little bit more draft capital in that sense because our positioning in the draft in that first round will be better.
That's why I like him versus the Cousins, the Jimmy G. I know we're going to get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into him,
That's why I like that than those guys, just because I think we already know what they are, but they'll keep you relevant. I'd rather be a little more boom or bust next season.
Fair enough.
Barron Bradford, at the quarterback position at least. I'll put it to you that way. Here's my sentiment, though. I don't think it ever gets to that point. I think even with Mason, we're going to be relevant.
I think
worst case, we're like 8-8 or that 500 range. I know it's 17
still
games,
relevant, though.
You get the point. Yeah. Barron Bradford. It's his perfect draft scenario. We signed J.C. Jackson or Gilmore and the guard Brandon Sheriff and draft Malik in the first. What do you guys think about trading up in the second round? That's definitely a solution to get another needed receiver or inside linebacker.
I mean, I don't hate that idea, honestly.
No. I'm starting to get less and less on the drafting quarterback. It's specifically Malik Willis.
Yeah.
I really am, because the whole J.C. Jackson, Sheriff, let's say we don't address one of those positions that we might need, like another offensive lineman in free agency. That means, because we're still trying to re-sign Terrell, and we're still trying to re-sign Witherspoon. So there might be a missing piece or two heading into the draft. I would rather spend that first round pick on like a Linderbaum, the dude that's going to start
right away, and we're going to
same thing with second round, as opposed to draft Malik. He's going to be sitting most likely. We talked about Colbert's comments. If we want to compete, that might be the better scenario.
Yeah, no, you're right there, man. You're right. This gray area is killing me though, right? Because it's like, man, can we
I'm just
go?
Ready,
Let's just go. Like, man, it's like 2 weeks away from free agency. Great. Now we can really start to see how this thing is going to play out. And another thing that, we're just thinking about what Kevin Colbert was saying. He made it very clear that he doesn't want to rebuild. He doesn't want to retool. They're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. So with that, it's like, man, why not be aggressive? Let's go. Let's go. Hey, get you that corner, get you that wide receiver, that extra running back, whatever it is. But we're going to need all of those pieces if we're truly trying to compete for a championship, because the X factor that we, have right now or don't have anymore is at quarterback. Usually it was Ben Roethlisberger. Usually that was the difference maker. It didn't matter the talent around. He just rose everybody up. Well, now that guy's no longer here. Yeah, I feel like you got to worry about talent now. You got to make sure you go out there and acquiring the best pieces to help your young quarterback, whoever it's going to be.
Can that win? That's the question. Mason is 100% the X factor. The good thing about him right now, and the bad thing about him, is just the uncertainty. Now, some people are really certain about him. They say, no, he's washed completely. We don't even want to take a chance with him.
Yeah,
it would be a disaster if we start the season with him, which I understand those sentiments. I just think there's still a little bit uncertainty there. If he starts all these games this season, we're going to know a lot more. We're going to know.
Yeah.
We're going to know. We're going to know whether, in my opinion, he's like a Jimmy G type of guy. Actually, we might not even know that yet. We might know because Kevin Colbert brought up these comments. We might know if he's a starting caliber quarterback and not a franchise quarterback or not.
Right.
But we'll at least know if he's a starter versus like a backup. We'll at least know that from this season. And that's the type of stuff you found out with the Kirk Cousins and Jimmy G's in the past of like, okay, these guys could start, but they never really hit that threshold of franchise quarterback, in my opinion. But that's what years in the NFL will tell you.
Yeah.
That's what multiple playoff appearances or what do you do in the big moments.
Yeah, just a bigger sample size.
That type of stuff.
Because right now, Mason's sample size is still small. The most evaluation we could do on him is from his rookie season. And like you said, that's just not fair, right? When we're talking about the growth that he's taken and just trying to really see where he's at now, one game here or there isn't a large enough sample size, in my opinion, for a guy like Mason right now.
No. What he could do next season is show that he's deserving of a contract, like a long-term contract, 2 or 3 year deal, whatever it is. The thing I'm most interested in, I don't know if we'll see it this season, and I don't know if it's only a 1-game sample size that could tell you one way or another, is can he sling it out with Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbert in a playoff game? And what I mean by that is, okay, we could see one game maybe this season. If he doesn't do it, do we just write the book on him then?
But see, for me, I don't even.
Or does it take 2 or 3 type of performances like that?
This is my thing, though. Why do we have to try to gauge him in terms of slinging it out versus future all-time greats? When Jimmy G beat Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, he didn't outduel Aaron Rodgers. No, he had a great team around him, and he made the throws that he needed to make. That's all I'm looking for with Mason when he's facing a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Why get to those games and then try to be something that you're not? If he was that, we would already know that, because those guys were what? First round picks for a reason. Those guys have already shown right out the gate how talented they are for a reason. I don't expect Mason to ever outduel those guys. Can he beat them? Sure, but it's going to have to look like how a Jimmy G will beat those type of guys. You play your best or you don't make the mistakes, but the team around you is playing at a high level. And that's my expectations for him in those type of games. I'm not even looking at him to outduel those guys. Keep it limited. Don't turn that ball over. We're going to play great defense. We're going to run this rock, and we're going to get them that way. That's kind of how I view it.
The reason I say that is just more for the franchise's long-term success, because we could get lucky. We could, on a year, just make a run with Mason, maybe win a Super Bowl a la Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, that type of thing. But those quarterbacks didn't have staying power. And that's what I want, staying power. I want the Super Bowl ultimately, but at the same time, I want stability. I want where – oh, man, we don't have to worry as much if a receiver gets injured and misses half the year. That type of impact that it would have on the team, because we have a franchise quarterback.
Because
that's what I'm saying. Whenever I talk about slinging it versus Josh Allen and stuff. Yeah,
because right now, talent at receiver definitely matters. Talent in the backfield definitely matters. Offensive line
around the whole team, it matters right now. It matters.
Yeah, it's heightened. And that's why we even have to talk about some of the free agents that we talk about, some of the draft picks that we're talking about in terms of, do you move up to get a guy? Because we don't necessarily have that force multiplier at quarterback anymore right now. Not saying that he can't develop into that, but just currently right now, he's not that. So, yeah, man, it definitely makes that thing very, very interesting. And even more so because, like you said, we're still trying to stay relevant this season. If Kevin Colbert didn't say that, then, yeah, man, it's a different approach. We're like, hey, we don't have to be aggressive in free agency. We don't have to do all this spending. We don't have to make all these moves. We can take a year to see what we look like, rebuild, retool, reassess. But Kevin Colbert was very clear with his message. They're not doing that. They're trying to win a Super Bowl this season. So for them to be doing that, they're going to need to make those roster moves accordingly, so that way they can put the best team out there to do said things.
Well, not only that, we hired Brian Flores too, who's just coming off the whole tanking fiasco with the Dolphins. So with hiring Flores, you're not going to be trying to tank here.
Right, not at all, man. Not at all. But it was good. I'm glad you brought that up too. It was actually good to hear, Kevin Colbert say that, man. As soon as Coach Tomlin brought it up to him, he was like, absolutely. Love his pedigree, but also love the fact that he has that background in player in personnel, player personnel, stuff like that. So, yeah, man, it was just good to hear that everybody was on board. It wasn't he wants him, but this guy doesn't want him, or whatever it may be. It's good to just hear that everybody was all cohesive and all on the same page with this decision.
100%. Farron Bradford says if Tuitt leaves, that's fine. Loudermilk did solid. So did Adams. And we could draft a guy like Travis Jones.
I mean, you bring up a good point. My question is this, though. Tuitt and, Loudermilk and even Wormley, right, to an extent. Combining both of those two guys' play and productivity, do you feel like the impact was to the extent of what Tuitt did a year ago?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. So it's
like, definitely not. No.
Right. So it's like, yeah, you can go that route and we can draft a young guy and hope that, he's able to pan out early, because that's the other thing, right? No Tuitt. That means this dude needs to come out here and be that guy day one. We said we're rookies, though. Even Tuitt himself. Remember his rookie year? It was a little up and down. His second year was a little up and down. Bud Dupree early in the career, a little up and down. So Devin Bush, a little up and down. There's no guarantee that just because you draft a guy in the first round, that he's going to come in here and be that proven commodity. That's why, for me, I always say I like veterans. I like guys that have already done it versus the speculation surrounding rookies. Because, college is one level, but the pros is totally different. And we just never know if a guy is going to be able to translate and be consistent at this level. So, I hear what you're saying. To me, I think that's a little bit more risky, though, going that route in terms of thinking that it's just going to replace the productivity that Tuitt gave you and could continue to give you.
Yeah, I'm high on Loudermilk too. I think he could be solid, but you're right. I don't think they're to
like
Tuitt's level right
he's
now.
not athletically. Loudermilk isn't with what Tuitt can do right now. He has potential to grow and develop, but Tuitt is Tuitt for a reason, man. Tuitt got paid the way he got paid for a reason. Tuitt was drafted the way he was drafted. Tuitt is at times can be a dominant player. Like, not a good player, a dominant player. We can't say that about Loudermilk just yet right now. And that, to me, is a little bit different. Travis Jones, like, we don't know if he's going to come in and just be dominant year one. Like, we haven't seen that just yet. So that's why, for me, I'm not as confident with that approach in comparison to saying, all right, if we don't have it to it, we'll now go out here and, get somebody potentially in free agency or, something like that. Just having to do, add a little bit more to that room instead of it just being one player that you're bringing. I think you would have to bring in some combination to fit what Tuitt could do, or just spend a lot more on a Tuitt-like player.
Let's go, UW. Yeah. On the same topic. Says, how do you feel about trading Tuitt for a high first, low second, then getting Travis Jones from UConn to replace him? I mean, if Travis Jones, you've talked about him being more of a nose tackle anyway, correct, right?
But my thing is this, though. It's like, how are you going to move Tuitt for that? Because our biggest issue right now is we do not know his desire. We do not know his health. We don't know if he's wanting to come back fully. So how are we going to move that player? Another team is going to say, hey, man, I know y'all got these question marks. I know y'all drafted him, paid him. Everything should be he's happy here. But, yeah, we'll take him on and we'll give you all this capital. We'll get first, second, and third. It's like, I just don't think that's realistic, man. I don't. I think right now.
So we know if he wants to play.
Right. I think Tuitt's stock right now from a trade aspect is down because you have this big contract still in terms of a nice cap hit, but he's coming off of a year where he did not play. He's coming off of a year where you can say it was either grief, knee related, or a combination of both, which it realistically was. But either way, when you're talking about an organization giving up high-end assets for a player like that, I just don't think that that's the case because there's too many question marks around him right now.
Yeah, there was literally a report last week that was talking about Tuitt potentially retiring.
Right. So it's like, how do you trade for a guy that might be retiring? You gonna give up a first and a second, and then he comes to your house, and now he retires. And now you're like, bro, what was this? Like, you gonna feel like you got robbed. You gonna feel like you got shortchanged.
Yeah. Now, granted, the report with Colbert just came out yesterday that Tuitt wants to come back. We're in talks with him. But if you're another organization, you see a retirement last week. Now he absolutely wants to play. We're still keeping the door open for him. We're in ongoing talks. That doesn't really breed the most confidence that he's coming back just yet.
Yeah.
Because it's just uncertainty. That's all it is.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It's a little bit more positive that he's coming back, but still, it's like, man, retired last week. Oh, man, maybe coming back this week. He wants to play. Door open, still in talk. Because, like, my thing is if he wanted to play, like, we would just know right now, right?
I would agree.
Tuitt wants to play.
Or how hard is
set in stone.
And look, how many times do we say it also? Whether it's rumor, whether it's a guy's just grown old or he wants to get traded or whatever, all you have to do in today's generation is go to your social media and simply say, I want to play. You don't even have to put it. Your publicist could put it. Kyler Murray, what did he do? Remember all the speculation?
Did you read that? That was terrible. The agent sounded like a fan. It sounded like someone on First Take. You had to add it. He's a two-time Pro Bowler. We know what he is. Adding that? We don't need to hear that.
But all I'm saying is, in today's generation, the society that we live in, you can control your own narrative now. You do not have to wait for the team to speak for you. You don't have to wait for the media to talk for you. You can use your platform. You can use your agent's platform to get that message out. And that's my thing. I'm like, if Tuitt really wanted to just silence all this, he could do that. But part of me is like, man, he's not doing that for a reason. And I don't know what that is. Is he still processing? Is he still deciding if he wants to play? I don't know. I don't have those answers. But I do know that something is keeping him from tweeting. And it's not like he's never tweeted before. I mean, we remember even, was it 2 years ago when obviously the social injustice thing and everything like that was going on. He had comments and it was fine. But it's like, man, you spoke then. You let us know your feelings then. Why are you quiet right now? And that's the part where I'm just like, it makes me really feel like I don't know if he truly wants to come back. I don't know if he truly has that desire, because if he did, he could easily shut all this up.
Yeah.
No.
Butcher Bergen. I remember when Big Deke Energy came out from
buddy.
Swagger and Mojo. Example, Deke laying back in his Mars chair. Let's make hold on. Ahmed great again?
No, the art the most experienced with Deke.
Oh.
Jesus. I don't waste it. Ahmed.
Aimed. Let's make aimed great again. Aimed. Yeah, could that become something catchy then? Pull it up. Deke lays back to start the season. We go 120-0.
Oh man. Well,
I did have a hard lean.
Hey, back with our WWE wrestling chairs, man. Them hard back used to hurt. Be like, yo, Deke, we 2 hours in, man. My back tight, bro. How your legs feel?
People thought I was so much shorter than you because of those podcasts.
Oh yes, bro. Oh yes.
They're like, wait, Deke's actually like tall. He's like actually 6 foot. That'd be like so much further down in ratio to you.
Yeah, that was too funny, bro. We've grown, and now we on this virtual tip. It's crazy, man, but that is funny. I do remember that.
The funniest was the comments. Tell this Deke dude to like get his ass up.
Yeah.
Tell him to sit up straight. Like he's annoying the hell out of me.
You think he cool? Why you gotta sit like that? Get his posture up. I'm like, bro, the man can sit how he was, man. We just talking. Like, no, that's funny.
Come on, this one. King Stacks says, Moats, Deke, what's up? Moats, I don't like the viewer to like ratio right now. We need to fix this.
Ooh,
I'm with them.
Absolutely, man.
You ready for this one, though?
Almost 300 in here. 73 likes, man. Y'all know you got to tap that like, man. Come on, baby. Y'all know how we do. Do it for the culture. Do it for Deke. Do it for Ahmed. Or Aimed, however you want to say it. But funny. More importantly, do it for the algorithm. Because y'all know YouTube need them likes, baby, to keep the content rolling.
He says, who wins in a UFC fight? Deke or one of the Island Boys?
Ooh, I don't know, bro. Them Island Boys
I actually think
tough.
It's me, bro. I actually do. You know,
tough.
I'm not a fighter or anything, and usually I defer on those type of questions, but I actually think I'd win.
And why is that, bro?
Those dudes are skinny as a beanpool, man.
Bro, they wicked out though, man. You see them dookie dreads?
I might get intimidated.
I'll tell you, but them dookie dreads let you know them boys from somewhere now. All right, they know somebody. They done seen something. All right, I don't know how valid they are, but I know the look and I know the area.
They would fight dirty, maybe. Too.
Yeah,
they
gonna be over there scratching, kicking,
do they
grabbing.
pull those little crochet needles or something? Do they pull them out of their hair or do they stay in? So I was gonna say I could see them mid fight. I'm winning, and they pull it out and like try to stab me.
Yeah, that's
I
what
can see
saying,
something
bro.
like that.
Like, yeah, I feel like they gonna be a little extra. You gonna be like, yo, you can't bite in this fight. I didn't bite. Yeah, like I can see it, bro. Yeah,
I could see a cheap shot or something from them.
Yeah,
ultimately,
man.
I think I could win. I think I'd win.
Well, either way, if I was around, you know, I would be the peacemaker. Hey guys, control your breathing. 4 seconds in.
Oh, you on that right now?
5 seconds out.
I don't know this much. You used to like if that topic was brought up, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, Deke, you'd be smoking them, man." I don't know this much anymore.
I'm over here. Come on, guys. Let's take a walk on the beach. Let's breathe. Let's get centered. What are 5 things you're grateful for right now? Tell me.
Hey, this is a good one right here from Farron Bradford.
Yeah.
Can fans submit mock drafts close to the draft and you guys talk about them? Like we grade them.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do that. Like I said, send it to the email address, Moats Winners, MOATS Winners @gmail.com. Yeah, we could definitely do that, man. I didn't know y'all were interested in that, but I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, man.
We should do one before free agency and then one like after.
Well, see, this is the issue. Since we are abroad, right? Well, not abroad, since we're not in the same place. Technology, we don't know when it's going to cooperate and when it's going to be tripping. That's the only reason why I have not brought up doing a mock draft on our end just yet, because I'm let's wait till we back home where we know everything works the way we wanted to work. Yeah, even with the phone lines. Think about it. We were doing phone lines, right? The last show we did together, live phones. We can't mess with that right now just with technology. So it's like, I want us to do all that and we will, but we just got to wait till I get back. But if y'all want to send your mock drafts in, send your mock drafts in, man. Send it to the email, moatswinners@gmail.com, and we'll definitely react to them. No different than how when you send your player prospects in and we come up here and we break them down and give you our thoughts and our pros and cons on those players. So, yeah, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, great idea. Michael Robinson says, great podcast. And Deke, let's go win the Super Bowl.
Hey,
I don't know if he's talking about real life or in the virtual world, but I agree with both.
Either way. Let's go. Shout out to the T-Gritties out there, right? All right. So let's get to this next topic, man, because with Kevin Colbert, man, he was talking about a lot, man. But more importantly, he was talking about, the wide receiver room in terms of Deontay Johnson, in terms of Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, with both of those guys, it was a little bit different in the tone, right? With Deontay, they were asking, hey, man, have you already considered the extension? Have y'all already started the talks? And he said, nah, we don't do that. Typically, we address restricted, unrestricted guys. Then we go free agency, then the draft. Then after that is when we will go and decide if we want to have that conversation. But he said there's no guarantee that they're going to do that. And it really had me thinking in a sense like, man, I wonder why he wasn't so, gung-ho that, yeah, they're going to try to get this deal done. But then before we even deep dive into that even more, he also was talking about Juju in the sense that, man, he applauded Juju being able to work his way back from the injury that he sustained last season and come up in the playoffs. And then it had me thinking like, man, is the door open for a potential Juju return? Because that's kind of how I felt. He was like, yo, he's still a young player.
Always open.
I agree, right? He was like, he's a young player in all these
team for 5 years. He's always welcome back.
I was like, man, wait.
There's always talks about Juju coming back to Pittsburgh.
I was like, okay, all right. So we'll start with Juju because I don't think this one is as nuanced as the Deontay conversation. But with Juju, I mean, is he a better option than some of the potential guys we could draft or, try to go out there and acquire in free agency? Because obviously we're talking about us needing to improve our wide receiver room in some capacity, whether we're talking bringing in a higher end talent or just more depth, right? A true slot receiver, however we want to view that.
Yeah.
But like you said, Juju has been in-house. Is Juju the best option for that? Or does it make sense to go out there and find somebody in free agency, like how we talked about a Cole Beasley the other day? Or does it make sense to draft a guy like we talked about a Sky Moore potentially versus...
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like where I'm at with that.
Maybe both.
Right now with Juju, right?
Maybe it's both because that has to do with a little bit with the Deontay Johnson conversation. Right. Because maybe you draft Sky Moore, you bring back Juju, but then you don't give Deontay that extension, and then you have Juju, Sky Moore. Maybe Sky Moore develops into a little more of that outside threat that we were talking about when we were doing the breakdown, and then you also have Claypool.
Absolutely.
Maybe you do that because we've done that many times before. You draft a receiver in the second or third round, and we don't really need him.
You might be onto something low key. I didn't think of that element right there in terms of bringing back Juju, still draft the Sky Moore more so being the replacement for Deontay, no extension for him. That's a different element. I like that though because, I mean, it could work. It definitely could work.
Yeah, and I think you could be seeing Sky Moore out on the field this year too. Yeah. It's not like
no, absolutely.
We have to. Although, you don't draft him in the third round. At least in the same season, you draft him in the third round. And then give him the James Washington treatment. I wouldn't think so.
No, not at all. He's going to play. Yeah, he would definitely play.
I don't know what happened with James Washington. I thought we liked him. I mean, we drafted him in the second round and everything, but I don't know.
I don't know, bro. Yeah, I don't know. That was such a weird dynamic, man, all year long. I'm just like, what is the disconnect, So,
last two seasons man. Even. 2020 was weird. Like, he would have a game or two. I remember Washington game. 2 nice catches, 50 yards, the touchdown. Yep. Even the Ravens game, he had that clutch catch at the end of the game where Ben was like, man, James Washington's the only guy I trust in this scenario. He comes down with it. He's got the strong hands. But then we really didn't see him that consistently in other moments.
Yeah. And we never heard Ben really bang the table for him either to say, hey, I want this guy out there even more. So it's like, man, like I just don't know, what that situation is about or was about, man. But I definitely don't see James returning. To me, it just does not make any sense for him to come back. But with Juju,
for his standpoint, at least,
right? But with Juju, my biggest, I guess, question is, if we go that route of bringing him back and drafting a receiver and not extending Deontay, what does the Juju contract look like? Because I still feel like he's going to want an increase in pay. But I don't necessarily know.
He got 8.
Right. So I'm like, an increase, you're talking about 9 or double digits. I don't want to pay him that. I don't think that he's worth that right now. Not saying that he couldn't go and revitalize his career and show that he's worth double digits, but to me in Pittsburgh, he's not there right now. Not when you have a Deontay and a Chase.
Yeah, what's the reason for the increase in pay then? Just because the cap space is getting a little bigger this offseason?
Yeah. And if you're trying to get the homegrown deal, you're like, hey man, I came back while I was hurt. I put it all on the line for y'all. I've never been a headache, and even when I was, I stopped being a headache. Like, he could go that route, but I'm just like, I don't think he's worth that right now.
No, I don't know. So I did look at some of the other receivers that we could be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Green.
Okay.
$7 million.
Okay.
T.Y. Hilton, 6.
Okay.
DJ Chark's at like the 12 range. Will Fuller, I'm assuming, is around 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Watkins, 5.
See,
so what's Juju right there? And would you rather have Juju than some of those guys that I mentioned in AJ Green, T.Y., and Sammy?
See, for me, T.Y. and DJ Chark were the two that stood out to me the most. T.Y. because he can definitely take the top off the defense. He's a guy that is a big play threat. But
or is he just washed though? That's the question.
But I don't think he's washed. But the problem is this with with T.Y., with AJ Green, with Sammy Watkins, all 3 of those guys. Well, definitely 2 of those guys, in terms of AJ and T.Y., they've been banged up a lot. They've missed a lot of football these past couple of years. Now, granted, when they're available, they play at a high level. But
yeah, AJ didn't play bad last year,
right? But
800 yards, you would take that.
But my thing is, they missed time. With Sammy, I think that he is really dependent upon the quarterback. I look at him when he was in Buffalo, when he didn't have a Patrick Mahomes. You look at him when he was with Patrick Mahomes, and then you look at him when he did not have Patrick Mahomes. And obviously with Baltimore, they were going through some stuff when Lamar went down. His productivity just, it wasn't the same. And right now, our biggest question mark really is at quarterback. We don't know what we're getting out of there right now. We don't know how good this player is going to be, whether it's Mason Haskins or a draft pick or somebody in free agency. So I don't want to bring in a Sammy Watkins, knowing that he is too dependent on that. Whereas I think DJ is just a little bit more well-rounded. A DJ is more.
Oh, yeah.
It is not going to be as dependent on the quarterback. He is a guy that can make the quarterback's life easier in a sense. And that's also
Chark's legit.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, man, what can we do to make whoever is our quarterback next year that has the easiest time with this thing? Give him more talent. Guys that, hey, you don't always have to have that ball pinpoint accurate, because we know right now with Mason and Haskins, we don't know that they're going to be able to give us pinpoint accuracy every time, perfect ball placement every time. So you want guys that can go out there and get that ball wherever it's at in the vicinity. And I think with DJ, he gives you a lot more of that than those other guys, and more than Juju right now in terms of just athletic ability. But that's also why he's going to cost a little bit more as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's looking around $12 million.
Right.
The AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton, they're saying 7.6 in terms of market value. Spot Rack didn't have Juju's, but I would assume you're saying a little bit. He was going to want a little bit more. I don't know if that's going to be his market. I would assume he's in the AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton of 7.6.
I would agree, but he's going to be looking for more, just because that's how we're wired as players. Like, that's how the market goes. Whatever you just signed, you always want to bump it up. You always want more the next go around. So that's the only reason why I'm saying that. But I don't think his market is going to reflect that, because the play hasn't. And he's coming off of a year where he missed a lot of time due to injury.
So that's the question.
Yeah.
Do you take Juju over maybe some of those guys that I mentioned? We'll say DJ Chark and Will Fuller aside, just because I would take them over Juju in a vacuum any day, but they're going to cost a little higher.
Right.
So what about like those guys in his range? You would take him over Juju.
Yeah, I would. I like T.Y. a lot, man. AJ, I would really have to evaluate his health, man. Like, that's the big one for me with him, because obviously he has the size, the speed, and we know he's a proven commodity. But if he's not going to be available because of health, well, then, it's like, man, I don't want to be paying him $7 million to just be rehabbing. Like, that's my other thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about this name? A little flyer. This is a great call. I hope we do this. Rashard Perryman.
High-end talent. Yeah.
I don't know what his deal is. Why does he keep bouncing from team to team, getting cut? Because I swear he's good.
He's good and he's very talented. And he's a high pedigree guy. I don't know. It could be, maybe he doesn't mesh well. Maybe he doesn't work well with others. I don't know. I haven't really looked into what has been the biggest issue with him just yet. But yeah, he's very intriguing. I think he's kind of worth a flyer. No different than, when the Chiefs took the flyer on Sammy Watkins. It was like, man, this guy is talented. This guy's a high pedigree guy, but he's been inconsistent. He hasn't really lived up to it. But they took the chance and it fit and it worked for that year or whatever, right? So it's like similar concept to me when I think of Brashad. I'm like, man, I don't know, but right now you could get him for the cheap. I think it's a super low deal. And then
he came back to the Bucs last year for $1 million. So you could get him for $1 million or $2 million.
Right, like you bringing in that type of talent. Like I said, I just don't know if it's a personality thing, if it's a he's a bad guy in the locker room. I just don't know these things about him just yet. So that's why I'd have to look into more of why he hasn't really been able to stick with any team. Because the productivity. I mean, when he's on, he looks like a good player.
Yeah, when he gets targeted, because there was one season with the Bucs. Mm-hmm. Evans went down, Godwin went down. He became like their wide receiver 2 or 3 and was targeted a lot by Jameis. And he actually became like productive. A fantasy sleeper that year.
Saying. He was definitely productive, man.
That's why everyone's saying he's fast. The Blazer can take.
Now I got a name right here. Hold on, Shaquille Gregory. He just brought this guy up. One of my former teammates, Christian Kirk. What about him?
I don't mind him. He's solid.
Solid.
At what price?
Speed. That's the question. What's the price? What's the price?
You want him over Juju?
I personally like him a little bit over Juju, just because I think he runs routes better. But obviously, Juju gives you more physicality, a little bit more size. But Christian definitely has more speed. What's that?
Had a good season last year. 982 yards, 5 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. The market, though. That's ooh.
Yeah, does he sneak up into that $10 million range?
That's my concern right now, because I don't want him at 10.
He might because of the point of his career where he's at. Like
he's young too.
His time to get that contract. Yeah. 25.
That's my only concern.
Whereas with T.Y. and A.J. Green, they got their money. That's why.
Yeah.
Right. Even though their production maybe could be similar this upcoming year, it's probably going to be a couple $1 million less.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, man. That's my only concern with Christian, though, man. It's like, if you can get him under double digits, even if it's at 9, I don't want to do 9, but I would even do 9. I just can't do the double digits for him just yet. But he's very similar to like a Deontay Johnson in the sense of they're trying to get that double digit money. They're trying to prove that they could be wide receiver 1 in a sense, man.
So the Juju back to Pittsburgh talk, I completely wrote it off, but maybe Colbert's comments have brought that back to the fold.
Yeah.
I'm still like, I could take it or leave it one way or another. Okay. It doesn't matter. As long as he's back on a decent deal, fine. It seemed like him and Mason had a little bit of a connection in that Browns game. Actually, all 3 receivers.
No, I thought they did, man.
Maybe one of my reasons I keep talking myself into Mason is I saw that Browns game. It looked like him and Claypool, Deontay, Juju, they all did pretty good together as a trio.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
So I'm fine with it. Like I said, it's got to be like 5 or 6 million. Anything more than that. Now, if it is, no, I was gonna say even if it's 7 or 8 for 1 year, we did that last year. We let go of Steven Nelson. I feel like our cornerback suffered for a decent portion of the season until Witherspoon emerged. So I'd rather spend if it's 7 or 8. I'd rather spend that on a corner.
Even when Kello emerged, we still felt thin at times. We ain't gonna act like he was just out here as the end all be all. We still felt thin. Like, we felt that. Absolutely, we felt that, man.
Yeah, when we faced the higher powered offense like the Chiefs, for sure.
Yeah.
But we were able to get away with it against the Browns, Ravens.
Right. But that was the difference, man. When you saw teams with multiple weapons, we're like, bro, we don't have enough. we ran out of bullets over here, man.
Yeah, right. Titans, too. Like, they had an injured Julio, but then he had to leave the game, right? In the middle of the game, and then they had no one.
Yes.
Because A.J. Brown was hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm for it. Just at a good price. That's all.
Fair enough. Now, to take it to the other receiver that was talked about, Deontay Johnson. Big question right now is, do you extend him? Because we know what the reports were that, the money he was looking for was double digit. And we know people brought up the numbers. It's like, oh, yeah, man, you look at his statistics and you look at other guys that have gotten paid. Yeah, that's on par with that. But my question is, do you feel that he is the bona fide number one receiver? Because if you're going to pay him that, you're expecting that from him. Or do you say, you know what, we're not going to pay you this offseason. We're going to allow you the opportunity to prove that you're a true number one receiver. And if you do...
if you guys franchise tag him.
Right, you can always tag him, absolutely. And that's the thing that I'm thinking of, like, why lock him up, you know, in a deal where you might be potentially overpaying him, in a year from now we're like, bro, this isn't what we thought it was. Because the big difference is, granted, we've seen him with Mason, but we saw him early in his career with Mason. The expectations weren't the same. People weren't looking at him the same in terms of how they guard him. Whereas now, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more attention. The expectations are a lot higher. And when you're talking about double-digit money, we don't care who's at quarterback. We want you to be the guy. And I just don't know if he's that right now, minus a Ben Roethlisberger, because we haven't seen him be that type of player without Ben just yet.
Yeah, even though that was rookie year, I think it is fair to say, like, let's just wait it out, see how he does this season with Mason at quarterback, whoever we have at quarterback, and see what he does. The downside to that is he balls out, and we could have had him on a cheap contract, like when Steph Curry signed with the Warriors before he blew up. That's really, with anything. That's the plus and minus you got to weigh out.
Is it really a bad thing, though, if he proves that he's a legitimate wide receiver one? Because my thing is this: did anybody complain when we started to pay AB? When AB was that guy in the league, when AB was the clear number one receiver in the NFL, we never complained about having to pay him. We never complained when we said 2 years.
Never looked at his contract once. Right. Never cared what his contract was.
It was like, give him more money. It doesn't matter. Give him even more money. It doesn't matter, because he was proven that he was the wide receiver one. He was proven that he was worth every single penny. But right now with Deontay, we don't have that. Right now with Deontay, regardless of what the numbers tell us, what did your eyeballs tell you late in the season last year? That play was taking a little bit of a hit. So regardless of what a number might say, we know what we felt when we watched him play. We know what we felt at times, you know, when we thought that he was struggling. I don't necessarily want to commit a ton of money to a player like that, knowing that we're going to have a transition at quarterback, and we don't even know if he can be a guy that elevates the quarterback play. You know what I mean? Like, because like an AB, we know that, man. AB, he elevates guys. We've seen that. But at the same time, he still needed a guy at quarterback. You know, it was a difference when Landry was out there. It was a difference when Dobbs was out there. It was just different. So with Deontay, that's the part for me where I'm just like, man, do you necessarily have to do that deal? Do you have to extend him this year? Knowing, because like I said, if we didn't know what he was looking for already, I think it's different. But he already didn't put that number out there, or at least his agent
15,
did.
Right? It was 15.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay 15.
No. But the receiver market seems to be inflated right now. But we already went all over this, because just because the market's inflated, that doesn't mean we have to make that decision too.
And no. We could be the ones who reset the market.
No, 100%. I am starting to look at some of these contracts. We went over some of the guys that are getting paid in those teens. It's like, bro, why the hell would you do those contracts? Almost back to the running backs whenever we were paying, or Bell wanted like 15, 16, ends up getting paid 13 by the Jets, David Johnson, Todd Gurley. No, those contracts are terrible. And you're even seeing that with Zeke right now, too. Yeah. So I get your point in waiting on Deontay. Then you have the option to tag him after next season. But if he does prove to be that receiver one, then you could just maybe pay him a couple more million more than that 15. Maybe it becomes 17 or 18. The thing I worry about is if he does ball out, just contract-wise, because you're right. At the end of the day, if you ball out, I think we're all happy.
It's a great
I just worry long-term.
Yeah,
this is like 2 or 3 years down the line, so maybe it's not even worth talking about. But if he balls out and then he wants a contract in like the 20s range, maybe the market gets too crazy. You see some of these contracts they're talking about with Devontae Adams. He wants that, where it's like, bro, we ain't doing that. But like, 16, 17, 18, that feels a lot better, especially if you prove it last season that you can be that receiver one. You got rid of the drops, whatever it is.
Yeah, now I would definitely agree with that. Now, what do you make, though, when we talk about how in the past we would say, what, man, you don't have to pay these receivers. Think about what we did with Mike Wallace. You got to let Mike Wallace leave so you can, just bring in your next AB. Then you draft the next guy and then the next guy. Well, in the past, that made great sense. But in the past, who was at quarterback? We had Ben Roethlisberger. So it didn't matter who was at wide receiver. You could take a Sammy Coates and make him look great. You could take a Kobe Hamilton and win games. You could take guys that necessarily weren't high-end talents and get the most out of them because you had a force multiplier at quarterback in Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger. But right now, we do not have Big Ben. So every time I think of, oh, man, we'll just draft the guy. Man, we always draft wide receivers, and we do it at a high level. That's not a guarantee anymore because when we were doing that, we had a quarterback that was proven, a legitimate franchise quarterback. And right now, we don't have that guy. Even if we're talking about some of these guys that we could go and get in free agency, we'll talk about in a second. They're not even proven to be that guy just yet on a consistent long-term basis. So I don't think we could just hang our hat on, oh, yeah, man, we always get good receivers in the draft. They'll just come right in and play, just plug and play. Don't pay anybody. That model doesn't work to me anymore when you do not have Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback.
Yeah, that's why we got to find a guy.
Yeah, man.
That's my thing. We got to find a guy because I don't want to be going through what people talk about in the 80s and 90s after Terry Bradshaw. I don't. Seriously, like that sounds like that model sounds terrible to me. Yeah. Am I wrong? That model sounds terrible to me. To that we're that reliant on a receiver. It's like, oh, we really need this receiver. But my question, can the quarterback get it done? What's the point? What's the point of signing a receiver for $15 to $20 million if you don't feel like your quarterback can get it done in the playoffs?
Absolutely.
That's why it's like, bro, we got to be all in and trying to find this franchise guy. Now, right now, we are in this weird space. So, like, we got to give ourselves a year grace period because I think we're going to have a lot more answers to that question at the end of the season. Yeah. We should at least. Like, because then we'll know. Mason, no, we got to move on. And then you go all in the draft, free agency, whatever it is, to try to find that franchise guy. Yeah. Like, I just don't want to be waiting around flailing like the Vikings with Kirk Cousins and all those type of situations that have always belabored my I guess my displeasure for in these past couple of years doing the podcast. I do not want to be in no man's land. I do not.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, as the wide receiver group is right now, then, do you think we really need to go and get a true number one wide receiver, or can we just go and bring in, like I said, a couple of more wide receiver 2 or B level caliber players to make just the group be really good versus having that one dog out there? Like, how do you feel about that thought? Yeah, you want that one dog out there, or you want the group to just be really good?
No, because our guys are still young. Mm-hmm. Let's see what Claypool does. Yeah. Deontay, clean up the drops, because Deontay's on a nice pace right now. He really is. But he's just got to clean up the drops. The one piece we're missing, I think, is the burner, the guy that could take off the top off the defense. That's really it, because we got to see what Claypool does. If Claypool doesn't step up, then, I think maybe we could be having this conversation next offseason.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we get into these supers, I got to ask, because, this is typically when they start talking about trades and stuff, right? Oh, you trade when a guy's stock is very high. You trade before you sign.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the receivers we got?
To me, man, I think they're good. I don't think any of them are great. I don't think we have a bona fide stud. I think Deontay has the potential, but he's just not there right now. And Chase is still been rocky, but he's young, and that's a part of young players. They are inconsistent at times. You hear me say it every single time we talk about young guys. There is no guarantee they're going to come in and be consistent from day one and play to their full potential year in and year out early on in their career. It's hard to do at this level. But I'm almost leaning more so towards bringing in multiple guys that are just good players, not great players. So that way, whoever's our quarterback, you don't create this habit of, man, they're going to force the ball to this guy every single time. Because we think about
the OBJ stuff with the Browns.
With the Browns, or I think about how at times Kirk Cousins, he can get enamored with a certain receiver, and it's like, man, you force the ball. And you're not reading the field. And if a guy already has limitations, don't pigeonhole him and make him do this even more, because I just think that hurts them more than it helps them. Whereas if we have multiple just really good players, guys that can get open, guys that aren't all world but are still good players, I think, man, if you're the quarterback, you feel more comfortable knowing that, hey, any of my guys can win. Any of my guys can have a nice matchup versus this is the only guy that I can go to. Let me feed him. Even if it's triple coverage, it doesn't matter. I'm going to force it over there. And, okay, it works on this time, but now it's a pick. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of stuff that I really don't want us to get into with these younger quarterbacks or whoever we have at quarterback, just based on the names that have been, related to us right now. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Bring in a guy or two that's a different prototype than the two receivers we already have. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a speedy / physical slot guy who could take some shots over the middle, or a burner that could take the top off the defense. Those are my two. Or just Juju. I think those are the three options.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can get with that, man. I think we're on the same page then. So let's get to these supers.
What were you saying? It sounded like you were about to talk about a trade or something.
Oh, no. I was just saying in the sense of, because Deontay, right? We always, we brought up, would you trade Chase Claypool? And people are like, well, his market is down right now. You're supposed to trade when he has the most value. Okay, well, if Chase market is down, that means Deontay's market is very high. This is the highest his value has been, right? He hasn't signed that long-term deal yet. So if you're trying to move him contract-wise, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more appealing, not just to you, but to the organization that you'll be trading him to, knowing that, hey, they're going to get a chance to negotiate whatever deal they want, but they don't have to carry on any baggage, any, contract that they feel like, hey, man, we wouldn't have signed that deal. We don't have to take any of this on. So when we say that about Chase, and that's always the response, well, man, his market is low right now. You want to sell when he's high. Deontay is high right now. Deontay has a nice market right now, but there's still question marks with him. That's why we haven't broke the bank just yet for him. That's why we are hesitant to pay him $15 million a year. So does that mean you potentially move him, or do you consider moving him? Because you should be able to get some high quality draft picks back for a player like Deontay.
Yeah, would this be just like the Stephon Diggs trade with the Bills?
Exactly, that's
trade
what I'm saying.
Deontay for a first rounder, like how they trade Diggs for a first rounder. That'd be
because you think about this. Think about what Diggs. Diggs at that time, he didn't have. I think he didn't have a Pro Bowl if I remember correctly. He was still really good, and we knew
he only had a 1,000 yard year. I think.
Yeah, that was it. Absolutely.
Low, and it was low.
You knew
like
he was
1,100
good,
maybe.
right? You knew he was good, but you didn't know how good. You didn't know if he could develop into who he became. But when they traded him, what did they get back? They got a one for him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, man, is Deontay potentially in that category? I don't know necessarily. But if he wants 15 and the team doesn't want to pay him that, is that where you say go ahead and move him now? Because we don't know what he's going to be like in contract negotiations. Is he disgruntled if he has to play on the final year of his deal? We don't know that because we've never seen him in that. Yeah, we've never seen him play under these contract situations before. So this is all going to be new, but we know what he's asking for. And we know that we don't want to pay that. So that's why I just asked myself, like, is that something that we should be considering?
I guess it's something to think about. And, yeah, you would do it before the draft because you don't want to be getting that first-round pick when you're in training camp, because what's that going to do good for you for this season at least?
Yeah.
Something to consider. If you're just asking me right now, would I rather have a first-round pick or Deontay Johnson? I'd rather have Deontay Johnson. But what's interesting about that Bills trade is I would have said the same thing with Stephon Diggs. It's just like, bro, I'd actually probably rather just have Diggs. I know he's pretty good. Who are you going to get in the first round? Receivers in the first round or any of those early rounds can be hit and miss.
Until they put him with
and then they draft Jefferson. And it's like, actually, I think, both sides won on that. Both sides really won.
Because I could easily see
Jefferson, does he do that with the Bills year one? Maybe he does because his rookie season was amazing. But
Jefferson nice, bro. I ain't going to lie. Jefferson nice. He like that, bro. He's like that.
But I felt like Deke just fit with the Bills perfectly, though, right?
Yeah. But at the time, nobody knew he was going to fit with the Bills. At the time, remember, it was still questions about, man, how far is Josh going to continue to grow and develop? And it just so happened that when Diggs got there, they just clicked, and Diggs actually stepped up his play. And both of those guys just really showed that they were a match made in heaven, man. It was like that perfect situation right there. But that's the part for me where I'm just like, man, what's to say that, you look at these receivers in this draft, like, if you're trading Deontay, you're going to get multiple picks back early in this draft. So now you might have 2 first rounds. You might have 2 first-round picks. So what stops you from getting whatever guy we wanted to get, whether it's a Malik or an offensive lineman, and then still turning around and getting a Garrett Wilson or getting a Chris Olave or taking a flyer on a Jamison Williams? Like, you can do those type of things then. Say you have an extra first and an extra second. Say you trade them for a first and second round pick.
Oh, there's no way that happens. You think?
I don't know, but depending on what team you're talking to, because you have to remember he doesn't have a contract that is going to hurt you. So if you're trading him, you're saying, man, I want to get the most I can get out of it. And if you're looking for a wide receiver hungry team, a team that is looking, they say, hey, man, I think he's a guy. I think that, we fit him with our quarterback. This situation makes sense. Well, maybe you get 2 of those picks out of it. That's all I'm saying. Stranger things have happened. Let's not act like that's not the case. Some of these deals that get done, you're like, bro, that guy went for what? So I look at this the same way. Like, man, that could easily be a case right here.
King Stacks, how about this one? Mm-hmm. Moats versus both Island Boys at once, UFC style.
I'm going to tell you now, man, I'm super enlightened, but if I ever had to step away from my enlightenment, yeah, it's going to get gory. I ain't worried about either Island Boy. I promise you. And especially if you're seeing UFC style, so then I really don't have to worry about the weapons. It's just all hand to hand. Oh, yeah. My biggest fear is, you know, if you're out in the street, it's like, man, I can't go hand to hand. I got to go and, you know, use them toolies. You know what I mean? But we don't want to do that. But it's like, shoot, you talking just hand to hand, man. Yeah, it's not a lot of people that I fear on a hand to hand level. I'm just throwing that out there. Call it arrogance, call it whatever. It's not a lot of people I fear on a hand to hand level, though, man.
Oh, yeah, you'd smoke them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'd all pay to see that too.
Oh, you said we'll stream it live.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm at Fair and Bradford Orange. I don't know if that's where you're at.
No, you're good. That's perfect. Yep.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It says the wide receiver is so difficult to evaluate. Mm-hmm. Deontay just can't do the routine things routinely. Juju is not what we need in the slot because we need to get the same thing from Muth. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we forgot about his variable with all this. The wide receiver room needs a shift in mentality as well.
Mm. And part of that shift could be because we don't have a true veteran presence in there. Our oldest receiver,
Julio Jones would have been nice, huh?
Yeah. You funny, bro.
AJ Green, maybe we bring him in.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have that true leader, that true voice. I mean, Juju was the voice for a while, and we were saying even with Juju, he's young. Juju is a young player, man. So it's like, him leading as a veteran isn't the same as an AJ Green, isn't the same as like the Julio types, not even from productivity, but just what you've seen, what you've had to endure, contracts, things like that, man. The non-fun part of football. It's like he hasn't really lived that, so it's hard to give those type of nuggets to younger guys. It's hard to help them maneuver through these situations when you're looking at them as your competition.
He could be part of the problem.
Right. Juju, like, as nice as Juju is, he has to look at Deontay and say, bro, you taking my money. Yeah, he's looking at Deontay like, bro, you taking my money. He looking at Chase like, bro, you taking my money. So it's like, no matter how friendly or how much he wants to lead those guys, to me, I think that still is a little bit of a disconnect there. Whereas when you bring in a guy that's more established, a guy that's already been paid, it just changed your perspective. That's how I felt with Bud. When we got Bud and I already got my deal, I didn't look at Bud as my competition. Granted, we competed because we both wanted to be out there, but I was able to sit back and say, man, I can give you I can give you the gems to the game because I don't view you as a threat to me because I'm already paid now. I'm already taken care of. Whereas for Juju, he's still trying to get there. So it just changes that dynamic when you're in that room and you looking around these other two guys saying, dang, they about to pay you, and you about to get paid. I don't like this feeling. I got to make sure I step it up even more. I can't give you all these nuggets. That's the part for me where I just, I think about that a little bit, man.
But not even that. I think it's more of Juju and Claypool. Remember when they were filming the TikTok?
I remember, bro. I remember.
Juju's like, hey, man, film this. Like, he's supposed to be the veteran on the team, right?
Yeah.
He's telling Claypool, hey, film me in the middle of the field dancing around this logo. Whereas, like, you have AJ Green in there.
Yeah, it's different,
bro. What the hell are you doing? Like, you need someone to say that. Whereas, like, Claypool, Juju being the leader in the receiver room as it was, I just feel like you had a bunch of people that were enabling each other to do some stuff like that and not be the ultimate professional that you see from an AJ Green, Julio Jones, someone like Larry Fitzgerald. And that's why AJ Green's actually not a bad call now that I think of it.
And it's a lot easier for those established guys, those proven guys, those already second and third contract guys to hold guys accountable. You respect it a lot more when it comes from an OG like that. You say, you know what, man, I'm tripping. You're right. But it's hard when, like you said, y'all this pretty much the same age. Y'all are, in the same mental space. It's like, man, you want to record a logo? I'm gonna record you. Hey, send that there to me when you're done. Get me over here. It's just different.
You need AJ Green to just grab the phone and slam it to the ground.
What y'all doing?
That's what we need.
Right, like, yo, what you doing, man? Let's go over here and run these routes, bro, because I don't have time for you to be dropping anything. I don't have time for this. Let's warm up the way we need to warm up. Yeah, it's just different, though, bro. Absolutely.
That's a good point that he brought up. Man. A little change in receiver room mentality.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, dude. That's a good one, man.
Fair and Bradford. You want me to keep reading these?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
He says we need more explosion in the receiver room, too, regardless of which direction we go. I sent a new prospect list, and a guy I like is George Pickens. He can help us.
Okay. I'm going to have to check him out then. Absolutely. But no, I do agree.
Farron Bradford is the MVP today.
Oh, bro, he's back again. Shout out to Farron.
Yeah.
But I will say we do need more explosion in the wide receiver room. We've talked about that. We want a guy that can take the top off of defense, a true burner, and a guy that is consistent in that avenue. We don't have that right now.
Farron Bradford again says trade DJ while you have the leverage. So he's kind of with that speculation that you were talking about with his productivity. If we trade anyone, Ben's ball placement on deep balls was bad. Mm-hmm. So I give Claypool a small break. DJ is closer to a finished product than Chase.
Fair enough. No, that makes sense, and I can understand that sentiment as well. And also, with Chase, you still have 2 years remaining on his rookie deal, whereas with Deontay, you only have 1 remaining on that rookie deal. So in terms of just the timing of everything, you don't have that luxury, with Deontay, whereas, like I said, with Chase, you just have a little bit more time because, where he was drafted, or in terms of a year later.
Jared Kraft. Kirk, Juju, is he talking about Christian Kirk?
Yeah, Christian Kirk. Yeah, that's what they call him, Kirk. That's what we do.
Kirk, unless he's talking about Cousins. It can't be Cousins. We couldn't afford him anyway. No. Yeah. Kirk, Juju, Deontay, Claypool, Freiermuth, Najee, a good O-line, and then best defense in the league. Scary.
No, we could win like that. Without a doubt, we could. Yeah, I'm 100% we could win with that. Yeah.
I don't know if we bring – go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, but there's definitely no way you're bringing in a Kirk Cousins, bro. His contract, I wish he would have negotiated my contract. That thing ironclad. I'm talking, bro. Everything guaranteed. You want to cut me, go for it, but it's guaranteed, partner. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful deal. Shout out to his agent. Salute him.
I wouldn't think we're bringing back Juju and then signing a dude like Christian Kirk, though, too.
Yeah. Right.
That means we're not
it would have to be
signing
one or the
a cornerback, probably.
Yeah, it would need to be one or the other because both of those guys are going to command good money. Yeah, so we need to be one or the other.
I like the thought of signing, either a Juju, a Kirk, an AJ Green, one of those guys, but then taking that flyer on Brashard Perryman. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And then bring back McLeod, too, for the special teams and stuff.
I could get with that. Yeah, because I still like him as a return man. I don't want to minimize that part of his game because he still gives us a spark there. So, yeah.
All right, caught up.
So, all right,
whoa. Stop the show. We got AJ Martinez.
Whoa, big fella. Man, you about to get a song. Go, AJ. It's your birthday. Go, AJ. It's a party. Go, AJ, for the support, babe. Hey. All right, man. I'm going to read this one, bro. I got to read this one. Holy cow. So, first off, AJ Martinez, we greatly appreciate your support, baby, from the heart. He says, great work on the podcast, guys. Keep fighting the good fight, Master Moats. We need to dump all of our wide receivers. We can build an army of wide receivers for cheap. All brand new. Man. Well, let's talk about this then, man. First off, I will keep fighting the good fight. Like I said, trying to stay peaceful, right? Not allowing my triggers to trigger me in any capacity. Yes. Breathe. Relax your brow. Relax your ears. Release your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Feel the blood flowing through your hands, Deke. Push that blood all the way to your toes. Repeat process. I'm grateful for you. So yes, I will keep fighting that good fight. But man, in terms of these receivers, does it make sense to... I don't necessarily think you dump them all in the sense of like, hey, get rid of everybody right now, but dump them in the sense of don't extend or re-sign any of them. I could see a scenario like that, but I just don't think it happens all at once, right? The Deontay situation is the first part. If you weren't going to do that, I think you trade him for more assets. But yeah, I wouldn't want to necessarily cut any of those guys, you know what I mean, in terms of dumping them. I would still want them to play out their rookie deals, whether it's here or if we traded them and get more pieces for them. That's just kind of how I feel about it. But I could see what you're saying, though, in terms of building up that army of wide receivers. I mean, it's talent in the draft. It's talent that you can acquire in free agency. But either way, you're going to have to – I think you have to commit one way or the other. You know, I don't think we could go about it – well, actually, I think you could still in a sense, man. But Deontay is the interesting one for me right now. Like, the way we handle this is really going to change a lot. Because like you said, if you commit the 15 and he – turns out that he's not wide receiver one, now we're in a world of hurt. Now we're over here looking at that deal like, bro, why did we do that? This is terrible. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it, man.
Uncharted TV saying in all caps, stop disrespecting DJ. He's a top 10 receiver in production. Listen, I get what he's saying there.
Yeah.
At the same time, we all know what that last month looked like. And this goes back to what we were talking about a little bit and how Deontay Johnson might be viewed around the league, where his stock may be higher than how we view him in Pittsburgh. Because in Pittsburgh, I don't know, we saw those drops. Whereas, like, you see on Twitter or in NFL circles, they talk about Deontay Johnson only having, like, 2 drops last year.
Yeah. And it's like, bro,
it's
I don't know what y'all was watching,
we know that didn't
bro.
happen. We don't know who's keeping those stats.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what tape y'all watching. It's not the same tape I watch. I tell you that.
No, I do think the perception might be a little bit different. Man, that's hard to say just top 10 because of the drops. Right. Now, if he doesn't drop those, because I did feel like he was deserving of a Pro Bowl until that last month.
I would definitely
I feel like he got snubbed from a Pro Bowl, actually, whenever you compared to Keenan Allen and how he got in. But yeah, dude, the drops can't happen in those critical moments. The one slant in the Chiefs game, I really think that could have been taken to the house. The other one, that was an easy first down. I
would definitely agree, man. Absolutely.
What good is the production or the numbers in the regular season when you can't perform in moments that matter like that?
Big moments, yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, I want you to be that guy.
I get what he's saying. Maybe go ahead.
Yeah, and no, when I think of other guys, because I've Uncharted TV, he also brought up, that Deontay had better seasons statistically than a DK Metcalf, a Travis Kelce, CD Lamb, and Chris Godwin. I get that, but I don't.
Guys were hurt.
Absolutely, and I was going to say, I don't think if any of those guys were completely healthy and we could decide, do we want them or Deontay? I don't necessarily think that it's a guarantee we take Deontay over those guys. If you're asking me, hey man, you can get a healthy.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'd take all those guys over Deontay.
So that's my other part. I'm like, don't pay him like those guys if he's not those type of guys, because we know what those guys command from a defensive attention perspective. We know you're not out there single covering a Travis Kelce. No. You've seen what cover DK Metcalf when he wants to catch the ball. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. We've seen that as well. Chris Godwin, we said, man, we want to pay him to come here. We just think that, man, his number might be a little bit high, but granted, he's coming off an injury. CD Lamb, I love CD Lamb. Like, come on now. Like, that's my only thing. It's like, just because he might have had better numbers statistically, the numbers don't always equate to, like you said, when you're watching the tape and you're looking at this guy and saying, hey, what does he do? How does he impact? Not just when he catches the ball, but when he's running a route, how much eyes are on him? Because that frees up another guy. Right now, Deontay isn't giving us that consistently. Not saying that he can't grow to that, but he's not doing that consistently right now. And that's my only thing. And those guys also have what? Take the top off the defense at times, right? True big play capability more consistently than what we were getting from Deontay. Now, not all that was on Deontay. We know quarterback play mattered. We know that. But all I'm saying is I just feel a lot more confident at this stage in the career of those other guys that you've mentioned than where Deontay is right now.
Yeah. Well, you want to get to the next topic?
Yes, indeed. All right. And could you read off, I think Vince Trombetto just dropped a chat as well.
I see that.
Super. So yeah, get him as I'm transitioning this and we'll be good.
He says, we don't need a true number one. We need to transition to a running play action team. Just need guys that can create separation. That's fair.
Fair enough.
Wide receiver one only helps, or at least just a dude that can take the top of the defense, as we've mentioned many, many times.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, that makes sense though, man. And we're going to be, I mean, even Kevin Colbert said it himself, right? We want more from Najee. I'm like, I don't know what more looks like. I mean, the dude had 400 plus touches. Like, Lord, I mean, can less be more, please? Because I don't want this dude to be burnt out in 2 years now, man. Come on, can we, help him out a little bit. But yeah. But the last topic that we have, man, before we get up out of here and I start my morning meditation, start my day off on a spiritual high, being grateful for everything that I want to be grateful for, like Deke, like the chat, like AJ Martinez, and everybody else has been on the show today. We continue to hear quarterbacks being linked to us. And now we're starting to get a little bit more information about the Steelers actually having interest in some of these guys as well. 4 names realistically, and I think it's interesting with all 4 of them for various reasons. The 4 guys that continue to be linked to us in some capacity, right? Jameis Winston, Mitch Trubisky, Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, all four of these guys have started in the NFL. All four of these guys have won games in the NFL. Two of these guys I think have Pro Bowls. In terms of Teddy and Mitch, does James have a Pro Bowl? He might. I don't even know. Yep,
all three.
So all three have Pro Bowls, and all three, like I said, have proven, or at least have started games for one or multiple franchises, right? And won games. Some of these guys have even led their teams to the postseason. I mean, Jimmy G even taking the team to a Super Bowl. But with all four of them, we know that they all have kind of, good and bad about them. To not, belabor the point with this, but like Jimmy G, for example, reports came out late last night that he's going to have shoulder surgery on his throwing shoulder. He's not going to be able to do anything for 16 weeks. That means no mini camp. That means no OTAs. He's supposed to be coming back around training camp. That's a major red flag to me. But we also know that, hey, he's already proven that with talent around him, he is a high-end game manager. He can take a team to a Super Bowl. He can have you in position in the NFC Championship game. Like, we've seen him do that. He's went to Lambeau and won multiple times now. We've seen this. So we can see that, he has some good about him, but this surgery on the throwing shoulder is a major red flag right now. Jameis Winston. We've seen him throw for 5, have the 30 tutties, but we also seen the 30 interceptions. We know that he's coming off an ACL injury, but at the same time, he was starting to look really good in New Orleans before he got hurt. He looked like he was starting to put it all together. The LASIK was helping him. But once again, we know at times, man, he can turn that ball over at a high clip. Mitch Trubisky, mixed bag, right? If you have him with an elite offensive coordinator like how he had in Buffalo, we saw he looked really, really good. That's why you even got Todd Haley coming out saying, hey, man, I like this Mitch Trubisky guy, But we've also seen him without a high-end coordinator, without high-end talent around him, and he struggled at times. And we still have question marks around Matt Canada in terms of how good he can be as a coordinator for us. So it's like I see the pros and cons with him. Teddy Two Gloves. Well, I love Teddy because it's Teddy Two Gloves. But at the same time, he's proven to be inconsistent at times. He can be a game manager and can get the job done, but we also seen where, hey, man, if he's not 100% healthy or if his talent around him isn't playing to the level they need to, he struggles. We saw that in Denver. All of these guys, I think, have some good about them. All these guys I can point to and say, yeah, man, I wouldn't hate, if they were our quarterback. But I do think with all of those guys, the contract really, really matters. And I do think that the talent around them matters as well.
Yeah. That's why I think the Mason option looks really good whenever you start talking about those guys and potential contracts.
But my thing is, with all four of those guys that we named, if we take the contracts away, do we feel like just apples to apples? Do we think that any of those four guys are better than Mason or Dwayne Haskins right now?
Now, yeah, I would go, yeah. Jameis, obviously. Mm-hmm. And you could even bring up careers. I mean, all of them have had more successful careers than Mason or Haskins.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about going into next season, I don't necessarily know if they're going to be better. I mean, and if they are going to be better, I don't think it's worth the contract number and difference
that it's going to cost. Yeah. And for me, the guy that, I was high on was Jimmy G, just because I said, man, I think that he is a more finished product of what a Mason could be. But knowing that he's not going to be participating in OTAs, in minicamp, he's going to be recovering and coming back at the start of training camp, and that's best case scenario, that doesn't make me feel good. I want my quarterback to be the leader. I want my quarterback to get all those reps. I want my quarterback to work with Matt Canada, and they come up with the plan that works best for them. You can't do that if he's recovering. You can't do that if he's on the sideline rehabbing. And that's the part where I'm just like, man, I don't know if I want to touch Jimmy G, even though I think now the market for him in terms of how much it would cost drastically goes down. I just don't know if he's going to be capable of giving us what we need next year, knowing that he's going to be behind the 8 ball all the way up till training camp. And that's best case scenario.
And his contract's bad. Even aside from all that, I don't personally want him because of that contract. Now, I don't know how much the 49ers would have taken on, but still, like, thought of Jimmy G at a contract in the double digits.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, okay, all of a sudden now we're adding that contract with Mason's 5, and that's taking up maybe $20 million in our cap space for 2 guys. one of them's not going to see the field, and I'm not even sure how much better Jimmy G is going to be than Mason next year. Maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's not. That's the thing. That's the thing I still like about Mason.
We just don't know.
It's just a little bit of that uncertainty. That's all. And that's why I don't want Bridgewater, because, bro, if we're going to get him for maybe even Mason's contract, $5 million, I don't know if he's going to want that just because he has been a starter in the league. He might want more. I'll just go with Mason because I think Teddy Bridgewater is limited. We already know what he is.
What about
Jameis Winston? I think
they said he's back running too. He fresh off the ACL, but he's back running. They said he just started doing that. So we know in some capacity we would have him available in minicamp and the OTAs. Not maybe to the full extent, but in some capacity he'll be available to us. That's a little bit more intriguing to me than, the Jimmy G scenario where we're not going to have him at all. And obviously we know Jameis is going to be cheaper as well, just based on the contract that he was coming off of and the injury. So numbers-wise, I think that can make sense because you have the productivity there, but it's more of a risk because he's coming off injury. We haven't seen him do a full 17-game schedule as a more mature quarterback with, a little bit more reserve instead of having the 30 interceptions. Like 30 tutties is great. 5K passing is great, but 30 interceptions makes you throw up. Like, we don't want that part, And that's what I'm trying to do.
He was looking a lot better with the Saints.
He definitely was. But like I said, it was a small sample size. We didn't get a full season of that. We got a couple of games of it, but not the full year. So how do we know?
Yeah, the thing with Jameis that I like about him versus the other quarterbacks is just because I do think he's better than Mason. I would rank him the best out of the bunch.
Okay.
But then you also add that he does have the upside and potential still, too, being the first overall pick. He's got a cannon of an arm. So he could low-key, for a good 4 or 5 year stretch, become a franchise guy for you.
Yeah. Now, very true. And that would give you that longevity or at least that piece at quarterback like you was talking about earlier.
Potentially.
Yeah.
The problem with him, though, and this is why I'm starting to really like this Mason option, is he's going to probably want at least $10 million. So is he going to be better than Mason next year? Probably. Yeah, but how much better? Is it worth a Stephon Gilmore contract?
Put it like this. I think if Jameis is fully recovered, I think that he's way better than Mason next year, honestly. I personally do. I think that Jameis, Mason doesn't have a season to even – I haven't seen Mason do close to what a Jameis has done.
I know.
That's my thing. No, so it's
trust me, I remember that 2019 season.
Yeah, dude. If Jameis is healthy, man, I'm not even debating that. Like, it's Jameis over Mason. It's not even a thought to me. But I like I said, we're just having to see it. We know he's coming back from the ACL, and I get that. And like I said, at quarterback, it doesn't really make me as nervous. We saw Joe Burrow come back from it. It's not the same as when you're talking about position players, like a wide receiver, running back, linebacker, where they have to actually do a lot more cut and hard pressing and stuff like that. We know the quarterback position, they don't get hit as often, right? They don't have to do as much, of the mobility stuff. And for Jameis, that's not a big part of his game. Can he run? Yeah, he can run. But he's not a run quarterback. He's not a mobile quarterback in that vein. Nah, but we know he's a true, legitimate quarterback that can sling that rock when he wants to. And that's the part for me where I'm like, man, if he's available and you could get him on a deal where you like the number on it, why not? Because I do think that he would be a clear cut ahead of Mason and Haskins. Whereas the other guys, we can't really say that right now.
Okay, so that is the question. You answered it for yourself, but if I put it to you this way, is Jameis worth basically like a Stephon Gilmore contract? So say we get Jameis, and only one of those players are playing then between Jameis or Mason, unless we cut Mason. I don't know how that's going to work or how much dead cap we would have with him like that. But if we add Jameis, that means we don't get maybe an Eric Kendricks or a Stephon Gilmore on defense. Well, is that worth it to you?
Well, yeah, because I put more of a premium on quarterback. Isn't that what we've been saying, right? We always say it's a quarterback league.
Yeah.
Is it not a quarterback league?
See, that's the thing. If it was Russell Wilson, I'd feel a lot. If it was Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, one of the franchise guys already, I'd feel better about it. But it's just because we just have a little bit more uncertainty with Jameis still. That's true, all.
But I just think that Jameis is closer to – we can – put it like this: we can
see
Jameis taking that
step.
We can see Jameis taking a step to go there way sooner, and that's way more realistic to us than we can think of Mason taking that step right now.
You're right,
and that's why for me, if I can get a Jameis who I think can tap into that, if he cuts down his if he just had 15 interceptions that 30 year, bro, If that was 5,000 passing, 30 tutties, and 15 picks, bro, we are not talking about Jameis negatively at all. It was the 30 touchdowns with the 30 picks, and that's why we're like, that's not so nice. So for me, you cut them picks down, which he was already showing growth in. If he cuts those picks down, bro, I'm like, man, what are we talking about here? Like, he's not that far from those guys, not at all.
No. And going back to the 2019 season, I remember because I think I was playing fantasy at the time. I think I had Rashard Perryman in one of those last weeks.
Yeah.
So I was watching the Tampa Bay game. And even though Jameis was all over the place, I was like, bro, it's been so long since I've seen a quarterback just be able to, like, sling it like this. Like, Mason can't do this. Duck can't do this. So that's to your point of just Jameis at full potential is higher than probably anything we'll see with Mason. But then we also see Mason, like, improve these last couple games. And I do think maybe Mason could be decent. Maybe.
But also, you have a proven leader in Jameis also, bro. We don't know what type of leader Mason is in terms of motive. Now, we don't – I hope his speeches are better than what Jameis is, because we know Jameis' speeches get a little wacky. But at the same time,
Lewis. He's Ray Lewis.
But it's like, you know, Jameis is the guy that's going to motivate. Jameis, the guy that he's in the middle of the group. He's the leader of the group. He's the alpha. We haven't seen that with Mason either. So I also think about that part. It's like, man, Jameis brings a lot to the table outside of the 30 picks. That's the big question mark with him. But as I say every single time, don't bring up 30 picks without seeing 30 touchdowns, 5,000 passing yards. Because that was the truth. That is undeniable. And you don't do that if you're not good in this league. That's not even good. That's above average. That's like you're flirting with potentially being a dog in this league. And that's the part for me where I'm like, man, you can get a chance to get him low and tap into that. It's worth it. Versus a Stephon
My only
Gilmore,
problem with
Eric
Jameis.
Kendricks. That's all.
My only problem with Jameis, and it's actually not a problem with Jameis, it's just if we bring him in, I wouldn't want Mason on the roster then.
Fair enough.
Because we're just giving the QB1 spot to Jameis. I'd rather clear up some cap space from Mason's contract, sign an offensive lineman or something. I'd want to do something with that money.
Fair enough, but all I would say is this. Don't look at the $5 million and think of it like, man, why are we wasting that money? Think of him as a high-end insurance policy in terms of your backup quarterback. If Jameis gets hurt, you have confidence in this guy. $5 to $10 million is like typically good backup quarterback money. You know what I mean? Like, you look at what Chase Daniels was getting. You look at I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name.
Maybe we just view it as if you give Jameis 10, you're giving him 15. How about that?
Right, that's it. That's all you're thinking of it as. Because, guys get hurt. All right, cool, but at least you feel confident in this guy coming off the bench. You feel confident, hey, for $5 million, that's not going to kill us, but I know he can come here and get us a game. I don't think he can do it for the whole year, but I know he can get us a game. And that's kind of like how I would view it. Versus just saying, man, get rid of that deal. I don't even want the $5 million. And now we're like, okay, where is Haskins at? Now, if we think Haskins is better than Mason, okay, great. It makes perfect sense. But if there's still a little bit of uncertainty there, still a little bit of a debate there, then yeah, man, why even play that game? Go ahead and stick with Mason for the $5 million as the backup quarterback. You got Jameis for 10. It doesn't kill you. It doesn't kill you. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Trubisky then?
Like I said, I'm cool on it just because we don't have Brian Dable. If we had him coming in, then yeah, it's great. I pair him with the coordinator I saw him have success with and look really good with, and I feel confident, but I can't say that right now, bro. I can't. As much as I want to give Matt Canada the benefit of the doubt, why? Like, I don't feel as confident about him like as the team does right now.
Yeah, he would have to have a contract worse than Mason, I think.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
2 or 3, 4, whatever it is, and just fine. You have him in for competition.
Yeah.
I don't want anything more than that, though.
Yeah, man.
I like the whole first-round pick, second overall. Maybe he reinvented himself a little bit. It's got some talent. But outside of that, I mean, I feel like we have a dude like Trubisky and Mason on the roster. Now, he's not as mobile as Trubisky. Right. Maybe he doesn't have the high-end talent as Trubisky, but still. I don't want to be wasting around here.
Yeah.
Contracts for just competition. So if it's low, fine. I'm 100% for it. Yeah. But we already have the high upside guy on the roster in Haskins too.
And we have to say, and it's different because we know that Kevin Colbert wants this team to compete for a Super Bowl. So it's like, why meddle around with lower level guys when, you know, it's like, yo, if he's not going to be better than Mason, why play that game? Why even deal with that? Because we're going to need to use that money to get this guy, to get another guy, if we're sticking with this route. So that's just kind of how I look at it, right? Like, why waste time? Like, if we're gonna bring in a guy, bring in a legitimate guy, man.
Yeah, that's why I think Jameis would be the one scenario. It's like, okay, he's QB1.
Yeah.
He's QB1. He's better than all these guys. We're giving him a chance. He's part of the reason why we're going to make a little playoff run, part of the reason why we're going to be competitive. Whereas all the other ones, it's just – now Jimmy G, obviously, if you did bring him in, he would be QB1. I just hate that contract because then now you're not going to be able to sign other guys, and then you brought up the injury too. Like, that's no good.
Yeah, I don't want to pay Jimmy G that, and I don't. It's no guarantee I'm going to have him week 1. It's no guarantee he's going to be ready by week 4. Like, it's the thorn shoulder too. I don't want to play that game. I'm good on that.
Yeah, and then with Teddy and Mitch, I just don't even know if they're going to be better than Mason next year, to be honest with you.
No, absolutely, man. That's kind of how I feel about him as well. For me, I'm Jameis. If not Jameis, then roll with, Mason, Haskins, or draft a guy. Like, that's kind of where I ended.
I think that's it, too, because now Mariota seems like a good fit for Canada, but is he competing with Mason?
I think he should be. I think he would definitely need to. I don't hand him over those keys just because his name is Mariota. Nah, you're going to have to show me. So,
yeah. So, Jameis is probably the one guy I'd say in terms of free agency that's out there that you would start, like, immediately. He'd be QB1.
Absolutely.
Outside of him, you're right. Like, I don't know. I don't want to mess with that. That's why that's why I keep mentioning the Mason contract, that whole scenario with the team building. It makes sense to me more and more. Now, if you wanted to go the Jameis route, like, that makes sense too. You're just going to be sacrificing maybe a dude for $10 million in free agency, like a Gilmore, Kendricks, whatever it is.
But you have legitimate productivity right there. Proven productivity, multiple locations as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are my kind of routes right now. Yeah, Mason, team building. Sure, if you want to go Jameis. And outside of that, I'm not even sure if I want to draft the quarterback in the first round right now.
Yeah.
I'd rather draft Linderbaum, center, lineman, someone that's going to help us immediately.
Yeah, immediately, right now. Yeah, not a project, not a guy that we don't think is going to beat out Mason right away, at least. Yeah. Interesting, man. Interesting. So we're gonna get those answers though, because these days are,
I'm just ready
for
this
man.
QB talk to end, man.
Heck
it's just anyone could bring up names.
Heck yeah.
And now, dude, there had to have been at least 20 names right now.
Yeah, it's
that
nuts,
we're linked
man.
to.
It is nuts, man. But shoot, let's get into these supers real quick, man, before I got to get up out of here because it's almost more than meditation time. And I'm starting my morning off the right way, Deke. You know that.
Okay. I think we got Dave Shipley. Am I wrong? First one with him?
Yes. Yep, we're good. Dave Shipley. Let's get it.
Okay, this is in regards to Jameis. Do you really think the Steelers would go with a guy off an ACL tear after Bush and Banner?
I think the only reason they would in this sense because, like I said, with Jameis, his game isn't predicated on mobility. And he plays the quarterback position. He's already showing that he's running now. So with that, I just think that it's a little bit easier to come back from ACL for a quarterback. Like we said with even Joe Burrow. It's like, man, those guys aren't as dependent on some of the lateral movements that, you have to as a linebacker or as an offensive lineman. And I understand with Bush and Banner, it's mixed bag, but Bush still played every game last year. People started to bring up the knee because he was playing bad. Let's not act like in training camp it was like, oh, it was his knee. No, in training camp it was like, yo, he looks good. He's flying around. I saw him. I would tell you the report. I say, yo, he looks good. When he started to play bad, and everybody was like, oh, okay, well, we don't want to say he sucks. We don't want to say he's not studying. We don't want to say he's not prepared. Oh, he's coming from the knee. And it's like, okay, well, Banner wasn't out there. Banner legit could use that excuse. We can't say that about Bush. Bush played. Bush played a lot of snaps. Bush looked fast. Bush played. He was silent on the sideline. That's my only thing, man. That's my only thing. We brought that up because of how he was playing. Not that he wasn't available to get out there. Whereas Jameis, I don't think is going to be the same issue. I think for Jameis, he is going to be able to come out there and be just fine. I just worry about the turnovers. But if he continues to cut that down, now you're feeling good, man.
Let's go, UW. Says some of y'all need to chill on the Rodgers, Watson, and Wilson talk. We can't afford the contract or keep guys like Witherspoon or Edmonds if we go that route.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
you're right. You're definitely right, man. Because that costs a lot.
I still think the idea of bringing those guys in is not the worst just because you have the guy you're looking for. I mean, maybe it's more limited. In Rodgers' case, it's only for 2 years, maybe 2 or 3. He's signing with Green Bay. I don't even know why we're talking about him anymore. He's going to be back with Green Bay.
Green Bay's already
Wilson, Watson,
Green Bay said they're already making a short-term deal for him if he decides to return. They already have this is how we're going to make this. We're going to make this work like this. We're going to take care of that right there. So yeah, if he comes back, I definitely think he stays in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Wilson, Russ is the different though.
Watson, Russ is different because that might be 5-6 years. Yep. And then same with Watson if he's cleared. Like you have the guy that we're looking for. You have the guy that there's so much uncertainty surrounding right now with the Steelers organization. Is Mason going to be the guy? Should we sign Winston? Should we trade for Kyler Murray? Okay, you bring those guys in, you don't have to worry about it anymore. And then you try to fill the roster out over the upcoming years. But I think with one of those quarterbacks, you're always going to stay relevant.
Yeah, very true.
You could piece the roster around them. So, yeah, I don't think it's something to write off completely, but I also get what he's saying. They feel more like pipe dreams right now.
Yeah.
Especially because I do think Wilson's going back to Seattle, and then Watson, it's still up in the air.
It's still up in the air.
Figure out if he's clear or not.
But at least we know we have a Brian Flores, so we know we have that connection if he does get cleared. So that is a positive. But I think we have one last super chat from Dave Shipley.
I might have.
Yeah. You got him? Or if not, I can get it real quick.
Let me see. No, I got him.
Okay.
It says, all the fans would be celebrating if we drafted Haskins at 15. Give these guys a shot. Skip my other chat. Already answered. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we would have drafted Haskins, you're right. We would have, I don't think people would be talking about that, but we would have had a different conversation if we would have taken Haskins when he was coming out, because it would have been like, man, are we taking him to, get rid of Ben? Because Ben still had, 2 years, 3 years, I think, of still playing. Is it 3 years ago? Yeah. I don't think you're taking Haskins like that, man. I don't think that would have made the most sense at that time. Deke definitely wouldn't have liked it. Put it like that. Deke would have been pissed. Yeah. Why are you bringing this guy in? Don't you bring in this guy? We got 7. You wasting a draft pick. That's kind of how I think the all of us would have felt about it. I mean, people even felt that way to an extent about Mason. It was like, yo, why are you bringing Mason? We got Ben. I know Ben was talking about, he might retire, might not, but it's like, yo, you got 7. Why are you bringing a quarterback in? So that's my only thing with that, man. But other than that, though, man, I can dig it. I can dig it. So shoot, man, this was fun, man. Heck yeah, man. It's a good day, man. Nice way to start our morning off. So I guess we'll do our pleasantries, baby. Shout out to everybody that was rocking with us on this amazing
morning. AJ Martinez.
Especially AJ Martinez, baby. Big time love for you and Farron Bradford, baby. Y'all showed major love this morning. Now, we greatly appreciate y'all guys, man. Everybody that was in the chat, man. Like, y'all mean a lot to us. We keeping it going for y'all. Y'all keep it going for us, baby. But whatever y'all do, y'all keep smiling and being one with yourself. And until next time, baby. Peace.